Good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar event for today. My name is Josh. I'm going to be your presenter today. We're not a terribly complex topic today. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. There are certainly a lot of moving parts, but hopefully it becomes pretty clear and it clarifies some information, clarifies some things for some folks today. So again, our topic for today is accounting changing banks, okay? And it's primarily it's affecting accounting, notably, right? Because we're setting up where the church has made the decision at this point to open up, in this case, a new checking account. We have a checking account. We're deciding to shift and move over to a different financial institution. So how do we do that in church windows? Okay. It isn't just accounting, folks, that it affects. Yes, it really impacts accounting probably more than any of the other modules, but it also impacts donations and payroll as well. Okay, potentially. Okay. Because a new account is being opened with a financial institution, an asset account should be set up and added to the chart of accounts for the new account. Okay, even if the account is at the same bank, if it's a different account number, different account entirely, a new account should be set up. This is simply to ensure that all of the activity in both accounts is kept completely separate, just like it happens at the bank. Okay. Okay, if the bank is simply changing names, we're not going to do that. All right. If if the bank you're currently banking with is bought out by another financial institution, but account numbers are not changing, basically it's the same account. It's just with a different name. We would simply go into manage accounts here in the middle. I'd go to my Huntington Bank checking right there. I would just edit that checking account name right there to change that name. But that's not what we're talking about today. We are talking about literally the churches deciding we're unhappy with our current relationship with, say, Huntington Bank checking. Huntington Bank, we've gone to, say, PNC checking, and we've opened up a new main checking account there. So that's what we're dealing with, okay? So we can add any accounts, of course, in a couple of different ways. To do this, I could go here to my chart of accounts, go to the tree view tab, right-click over assets and choose add new asset account. The other option, of course, is to go into chart of accounts, accounts plus minus up here, and then in the upper left corner, asset. This may be the preferred method way to go, because I can see all of my existing assets right down here, and I'm talking down here at the bottom. So a lot of times, folks will go, well, what account number do I want to give it in church windows? How can I see those accounts? Well, they're all right here. So my current account, asset accounts are all listed right down here at the bottom. So I can quickly and easily see what's available, with the exception of inactive accounts, what's available for me to choose. So we're simply going to put in our new account name. So we're going to call this PNC checking. Oh, Josh, come on, you can do this. Checking. Tab down. So looks like I've got my current account, a Huntington Bank checking at 100. I think we're going to make this one like 110, 102. So we're going to remember this 110, 102. Under my subtotals, I'm going to choose current assets and investments, and I'm simply going to click add account. Okay. So notice now, it now adds it to my asset accounts in my chart of accounts. So that's the accounts now added, right? So next step, typically this is how it occurs, folks. It's not always this way, but it's pretty I'd say in my experience, 99% of the time, an account like this is not set up with new money. It could be, but it's oftentimes not. We're simply taking money from an existing account and moving it or depositing it into the new account to establish that account. All right. And if that's the case, which most of you will experience that, I would go up to transactions up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth button over to transfer. Okay. Asset transfer is the preferred method. So let's say we're doing that today, okay? So we're going to be taking money from our Huntington Bank checking account. There it is, Huntington Checking. And once I've chosen that from account as my asset from account, notice over here on the right, I can only transfer money to another asset, okay? So if I choose now my PNC checking, and here I can enter the amount that I'm using, that I'm writing my check for that. Now this is important, folks. So let's say we're opening it with $2,000. We're writing a check for $2,000. Folks are going, well, how do you write a check for that, Josh? Don't I need to enter and pay a bill for that? Simply, folks, the answer to that is no. Why? Because when I enter an asset transfer, and this is covered in another page on our Resource Center page that talks about journal entries and transfers, and I'm going to show that in a minute, is right here when I choose an asset as a transfer from and to accounts, the software requires that I select the payment method that best supports how the money is being moved, okay? This is just a sideways shifting of money, folks, okay? It's not new income. We're not spending money. We're not bringing in new money. We're simply moving it sideways from one account to another. A lateral changing of money, sideways shifting. So notice my payment methods: manual check, computer check, cash, EFT. Wait, what? Computer check. I can put a check in the print queue and print a check without entering and paying a bill. All right? This is a very commonly overlooked function and feature in the software. All right? When transfers occur between bank accounts, I do not need to enter and pay a bill to do that. I can simply choose computer check. It will put that check in the print queue, and I can go into print checks and print a computer prepared check. Okay? So here I'm going to go, if I choose computer prepared check, notice now checker reference number comes out, is unavailable. I enter that number when I'm printing my check. So I would say to open new checking account at PNC, okay? And then I would click on add to batch. If I now go up to my upper right here and click on show running balance, okay, it now shows that my Huntington Bank checking, its transaction effect is 2,000 lower, PNC checking is 2,000 higher, and the adjusted balance here to the right is showing $2,000. Doing exactly what I want it to do. So I'm just reassuring myself that I'm saving myself the time, minimizing my mistakes by using that show running balance to ensure that the transaction is having the desired effect before I post it. Okay? So I'm closing the show running balance window, and I'm going to go ahead and post that. Okay? So I'm not going to print the transaction. Now when I close out of transfers, if I go to print checks, here if I click on that, here is my check. He said waiting patiently for that to come up. There we go. So here it is, payee PNC checking, $2,000. If my bank name is somehow different, or if my payee name should be different on that, okay, it's doing here though, it's waiting for me to print that. I'd go right here under manage accounts, click on PNC checking, and over here on the right hand side, notice where it says bank name and bank account number. I would enter that information right here if I wanted that information to be different than PNC checking. Okay, so just FYI about that. All right. Transfers, powerful transaction type. To see that, if you want to go in and learn more about transfers, because it's not just about asset accounts, folks, it's other accounts as well, go right here to customer support at our website, Resource Center, and down under the search, down the right-hand side here, where is it? There it is. Search, type in transfer, and right here to the left, I've got accounting, journal entry, and transfer. This video talks exclusively about journal entries and transfers, okay? So to learn more about what else transfers can do for you, please take a look at that video or document, okay? All right, and we're still not done, folks, okay? If this new checking account now becomes our primary checking account, all right, It's where donations are now going to be transferred and posted into after each week's offering comes in as posted. It's where all of our payroll will be deducted or taken out of as well to pay our employees. We've got to deal with those linking between the modules and accounting in that. But before we do that, if it's now becoming our primary checking account for, say, income or, say, bills, we have to now go up to special functions at the top, settings in the upper left-hand corner, and then right here in the upper left-hand corner where it says default asset account, right here is where I need to change that now to PNC. So if I choose PNC checking now and click OK, that means now when I go into, say, pay bills, all right, and I add something to a batch, so if I go to pay bills, quick pay, view vendors with a balance, say, and I choose my 941 taxes payable and click create payments, notice now here under asset account, PNC checking is showing up as the default account. So that's now taken care of in accounting to ensure that all of my, whenever I'm, posting these income or these expense transactions or bill or payment transactions, bring up PNC the way I want. All right. So we're going to discard that entire batch and exit. Okay. Next, linking donations to accounting. Okay, I can do that in donations, right? So I can go here to donations. I can go into donations and across the top to transfer to accounting. Again, let me steer some focus. Right up here, transfer to accounting. Okay, if I click on that, bring my cursor back, transfer to accounting, I'm now going to click on the tab called default account links right here. And right here, notice it's got Huntington Bank checking. I have to now change all of these accounts now to PNC checking if that's where my donations and giving is being deposited each week. All right. Unfortunately, folks, there's no en masse method for me to change this here. I just simply need to go down the list and change the account manually. Won't take but a few minutes, even if you've got a lot of giving accounts. But you've got to remember to go through the entire list until you get through all the giving accounts and change those, okay? So I would just continue this process ad nauseum until I'm done. No save here. The changes are saved automatically, okay? So if I were to close out now and come back into transfer to accounting, it should now keep those for the accounts that I've changed under default account links. Yep, there it is. So I would just continue down there until I'm done. Okay? I can also do this from accounting as well. For those of you with the appropriate permissions, I can go to transactions up here and then across the top to transfer donations right up here. Okay, it opens the same exact window. So if I open that, I just again simply go to my tab called default account links and I can change that account here as well. It all depends on how the permissions are set up in Church Windows. Security permissions are set up for users as to who does that or can do that as the case may be. Okay, so let's just go ahead and finish that. So now we know that when all of our giving comes in starting next week or next Sunday, that all of that money is then going to be deposited into, oh, I'm not quite done, all into my new PNC checking account. And now I have to remember to physically take that money to the bank and make sure that money is in fact deposited there, okay? Again, folks, part of the reason why we want to make sure these accounts are separate is, of course, for bank reconciliation too, right? I'm still going to have some transactions which are still waiting to clear out of my Huntington Bank checking account. And so in order to make sure that until those clear up or show up, I'm still effectively using that account. There's still reasons why I need to keep that account separate, okay? Finally, if you own Church Windows Payroll, we now have to change all of our employees to the new checking account, okay? We need to go into each one of our, under employees and contractors, Go here to the Pay Hours and Rates tab after clicking them, and it's true for contractors as well. And then right here in the middle where it says checking account, right here, there's checking account. I need to get that account changed for each one of my payees, contractors, or employees in payroll. Now it says set up default accounts, folks. I do need to set that up for future employees. But if I go into set up default accounts and change this account here to PNC, click OK, notice it's not changing that for my employees. That only changes it so it sets that default account for any new contractors or payees that I'm adding into payroll. All right. I still have to come into each employee's record, change that account, and save it. So I simply go to each employee right here, change that, clicking save in between each time. Here's my my landscaper, Joe Green Thumb. I'm going to choose his account for him. Just simply continuing through and on each employee, changing that account, clicking save in between each time. Okay. So again, changing that checking account under the defaults in payroll does not change it for employees retroactively. So if I don't do this in advance and save this, I could be posting my payroll to the wrong or to the old checking account. So you just simply have to take the time to do this for each one of those employees and contractors. Okay? And that's it. Then I'm done. Okay? So again, a little bit of a complex process, folks, but you just, once you know where those changes, once it's more than just adding the account, okay? Donations transfers into accounting, payroll transfers into accounting. When those two modules are used and linked, and the new account is where the money's going in and out of, got to get those changed in the locations that I've specified here for both donations and accounting or payroll, so the money goes where it needs to go. But that's it, folks. So we are a couple minutes early. That is where I'm going to leave our topic for today.